Hi, I'm Martin Felsen. Welcome to CityDesign, the channel where we explore how we shape our cities and how cities shape us. Today's question is, can a utopian community evolve and last? I'll begin with a personal experience that circles back to this question. I grew up just outside of Washington, D.C., in the Maryland suburbs during the 70s and 80s. On the weekends, my family visited the museums of the Smithsonian Institution. One of my favorite places was, and still is, the Hirshhorn Museum. It's sometimes called a brutalist donut. It's a bold concrete ring elevated above a plaza and sculpture garden. The museum's outer walls are windowless except for a single balcony facing other museums. But inside, daylight pours in. The museums of the Smithsonian are part of the world's largest research and exhibition complex. More than 30 million people visit every year, mostly for free. The Smithsonian campus is bisected by the National Mall, a classic example of a ceremonial axis. The monumental grandeur of a ceremonial axis reflects an urbanism of dominion. Some places are simply more important than others. Even some people are more important than others. In Beijing, for example, only the emperor could walk the ceremonial axis that slices through the center of the Forbidden City. The axis creates a long void through Beijing, reinforcing the emperor's importance. In DC, we find our own version of the ceremonial axis, anchored by the Capitol, the Washington Monument, and the Lincoln Memorial with its reflecting pool. These straight lines, monumental structures, and open spaces are staged for power. The axis expresses order and empire. But the National Mall's monumentality wasn't inevitable. In fact, one of its highlights, the original Smithsonian building, almost didn't happen. In 1845, the 29th Congress narrowly passed a bill to establish the Smithsonian. 85 votes for, 76 against. Several lawmakers thought it was a waste of money. So nothing unusual here. But the bill's sponsor, Representative Robert Owen, saw it differently. He said that he wanted to increase the diffusion of knowledge for everyone. That belief came from his upbringing in one of America's first utopian communities. 20 years before, in 1825, Owen's father, Robert Owen, a Welsh industrialist and social reformer, purchased the town of Harmony in Indiana. He dreamed of a self-sufficient, science-based community founded on equality and cooperation. At Harmony, architect Stedman Whitwell was asked to envision a new, orderly town centered around shared schools, libraries, gardens, kitchens, and dormitories. But his plan resembled a fortified compound or company town more than an open, free society. Instead, the actual town, renamed New Harmony, grew more incrementally and informally, just a scattering of small wooden buildings at first. At its heart, New Harmony stood for free public education for boys and girls alike. Robert Owen believed that accessible education in a planned community could shape character and create a more harmonious, peaceful class of workers. He believed that the environment shapes who we become. As he put it, character is universally formed for and not by the individual. To shape the community and staff its schools, Owen recruited a team of scholars and scientists from the East Coast. They arrived by boat. The boat was nicknamed the Boatload of Knowledge. The journey made headlines in national newspapers. According to historians, a young Abraham Lincoln watched the boat pass down the river. Upon seeing the boat, he unsuccessfully pleaded with his father to let him enroll in New Harmony's experimental schools. Owen's schools were the first public co-educational schools in America. He also opened one of America's first industrial trade schools. Soon after the town began, New Harmony adopted a constitution. The 800 residents shared labor and goods, and each age group had specific roles. Young children were cared for and encouraged to play. School-age children learned through observation. Teens received technical training and helped with household and garden work. In adulthood, residents took on leadership roles, managing production, education, and governance, while elders focused on diplomacy and travel. It was a shared community designed for social transformation. But within months, things got complicated. 6 bureaucratic departments were formed to oversee the collective work: agriculture, manufacturing, domestic economy, general economy, commerce, and education, each with a superintendent. Disagreements erupted. Many people simply left. Some who left criticized the absence of individual sovereignty and private property. Others stopped working altogether, realizing everyone received the same benefits regardless of effort. The general store couldn't stay stocked, food shortages grew, no new homes were built. Despite its idyllic setting, it failed to grow or thrive. By 1828, just 3 years into the experiment, the utopian community disbanded. Like many utopian experiments, New Harmony reveals how idealistic cooperation can quickly give way to economic struggles and power politics. But New Harmony didn't disappear. In fact, it became a hub of science under another son of Robert Owen, David Dale Owen. And the Education Society, founded by the town's teachers, also lived on for several years. I find it interesting that both the cultural left and right found fault in New Harmony. Let's start with the left, the far left. Karl Marx, yes, the author of the Communist Manifesto, argued that it was Robert Owen's idealism that made him ineffective. Marx believed Owen ignored the economic roots of inequality and the tensions between workers and owners. Marx dismissed Owen's community as a naive and paternalistic place. In the Communist Manifesto, he called Owen's isolated home colonies nothing more than castles in the air. To Marx, Owen's generosity masked his desire to retain power, offering only small acts of goodwill to keep workers compliant. Marx didn't believe in gradual, experimental reform. He wanted revolution, the overthrow of capital, the abolition of private property, and a classless society where resources are shared based on need. And from the free market right perspective, Owen's own son offering this blistering critique: all cooperative schemes which provide equal remuneration to the skilled and industrious and the ignorant and idle must work their own downfall. Both points of view reveal conflict at the core of every utopian society. Can we design equality without losing motivation or order? Today, more than 30 buildings from New Harmony's experiment still stand. The town is a national landmark. Its main street is lined with shops and historic homes, and more recently, 2 excellent buildings were added. Architect Richard Meyer designed the Athenaeum, a visitor center that leads guests through New Harmony's history, literally. Visitors begin their tour by ascending its ramping stair. Inside, visitors walk switchback ramps to view exhibits and attend lectures in the auditorium. After exiting, viewers descend exterior steps into the living town. There's also the roofless church, a spiritual garden surrounded by a perimeter wall. At its core, a tulip-shaped canopy shelters a sculpture titled The Descent of the Holy Spirit. The space, open air, reverent and enclosed, is a poetic abstraction of Owen and Whitwell's utopian vision from 1825. So, can a utopian community evolve and last? In some form, yes. New Harmony didn't fulfill its promise, but it didn't disappear either. Its legacy, shaped by public education, scientific discovery, and civic imagination, lives on. Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying City Design, please like and subscribe. See you next episode.